Hey everybody, what is going on? Pete Simonetti here for NYY News. Guys, I am still upset about yesterday's game, but I tell you what, man, I get even more upset now that, unfortunately, we don't have a media no more when it comes to the New York Yankees. A media who asks questions, a media who states the obvious, a media who is willing to push back. It's a damn joke. So, early this morning, I get up early. Francis sends the link to the Ryan Ruocco CC Sabathia podcast, and I said, hell with it. Let me take a listen. Let me hear what these guys got to say, because apparently they recorded it, my quick reaction, and here's our reaction to the game last night and the Yankees being out. And I said, let me take a look. Let me listen to what these guys got to say. And there was some good points, don't get me wrong. CC made a really good point talking about the Yankees have been regressing and other teams have been getting better. Toronto's a dangerous team going forward. I agree with all that. But here's the issue. They like to state this thing a lot. There's obviously something wrong. There's something wrong. There's obviously something wrong. They know what is wrong. They just won't say what is wrong. Whether they're beholden to the Yes Network or I don't know. I don't know if that has even any association. I know for Ruocco it does. But they know what the problem is here. And let me just get into it, because me and Ruocco had a little back and forth today, and I think he got shut down pretty quickly. And maybe I'm being biased because it was with me. But here's what I wrote. So I'm going to let you guys get a heads up here. I wrote earlier, let's see. Let me go to the initial one that I responded to, and then he responded to that one. Let me see if I can find it now. Replying to Simonetti source. All right, let's see. It should be right here. I said, at Ryan Ruocco said he doesn't like to criticize Phil Nevin because he is such a nice guy. Guys, what the hell does that even mean? I don't understand what point we are in life where you cannot be criticized because you're a nice guy. It's shocking to me that before you discuss somebody, you have to go out of your way to say the guy's a nice guy, but if you do that, credibility is lost. You should just end your sentence there and not continue to run on. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. He went on to say, and I'll tell you what he said first, then I'll respond to him. Matter of fact, let me tell you his response. His response was, so if you say you don't like to criticize that person because they're a great person, but then you do anyway because that's part of the job that makes you a joke, ? Or does it make you incredibly honest and credible? No, actually it doesn't. And on top of it, you did not criticize. You did not criticize. So you are just sitting here talking about credibility when you're lying out of your ass. I heard what you said. Well, it probably wasn't the best call, but it's not as bad as what people think. Are you kidding? It's not as bad as what people think? He was out by 15 feet. By the time the catcher had the ball, there's a shot on Twitter that shows the picture, the angle picture. When the catcher has the ball, judge is not even in the frame. It's not as bad as people think. This is the wild card game. They just took Evaldi out. We had all the momentum in the world, and it was handed back. But you can't admit that strongly enough to say it should obviously cost this man his job. That's how life works. We want to be so liberal about stuff and so open that everybody just gets to do what they please because they're nice. But if Nevin wasn't a nice guy, Ryan, would you have any issue of knocking him? Would you have any problem of shitting on him? I mean, he's not a nice guy then, right? So that gives you all the right in the world. As long as the majority runs with a narrative that so-and-so's a nice guy, we must not criticize them. And we must never call for their job because that is wrong. We must not criticize them to the point of where we obviously know this should cost the man his job. It's a huge play in this game. It was the momentum changer. If you guys watched the live we did last night, I said the ball game's over in that moment because it was that big of a play. And the majority of Yankee fans in that moment agree that it should definitely cost Nevin his job. It's also not the first time he's done it all year, which also plays into the factor. But maybe he's gotten away with it so long, Ryan, because he's a nice guy. It's the same thing with Michael Kay. Michael Kay talks about Aaron Boone, and he must start out with, well, Aaron's a nice guy. No, Michael, he could be. Very well. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Let me give you guys a scenario here, okay? I'm a nice guy. I go to work. I'm a manager of a bank. I always use this one. I'm a manager of a bank. My district manager comes in. He goes, Pete, it's been a whole quarter already. Nothing has changed. What are you going to do differently this quarter? And I sit there and go, well, I think we'll keep doing the same thing. I think it's going to catch on. I really do. I think it's going to catch on. The team really likes me. We get along great, but it's going to catch on. He looked at you and goes, Pete, you got 4 people underperforming here. What have you done to coach them? I just tell them it's going to get better. If they listen to what I'm doing, it's going to get better. If I'm that manager, I'm saying, well, at this point, we have to move on with action on you because you're not holding your team accountable. You're not doing your job. I like you too, but maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe when a coach is so well liked and the coach is such a friend figure, not a coach or a manager or an authority figure, that's the problem. So Frank, who's a follower of mine, retweeted at Ryan Ruocco. And he told Ryan Ruocco flat out, then tell us what the problem is. Since you could do it, right? You're open to talking. You're not beholden to the Yes Network. Tell us what the real issue is. Because you didn't say it on your podcast. You didn't say Boone should not come back. You didn't say that this team obviously lacks leadership. That's obvious. You don't need to be a genius to do that. Hell, I've been saying it since May. And again, I'm not tooting my own horn here. The problem with the New York Yankees is leadership, and it starts with the manager. The Yankees do not need a friend. They need an actual manager. Again, look what the White Sox did with Tony La Russa. They felt they were not getting enough of their players on the field, and there was too much stuff happening elsewhere that was being allowed. Tony La Russa gets the best out of the guys on the field, and the talent shows up in the win-loss column. If Alex Cora managed the Yankees, if Kevin Cash managed the Yankees, this team wouldn't have been fighting for a wild card spot. Put it that way. I'd put every dollar I got on that one. You don't got to look far to figure out what's wrong with the Yankees. And I'm sorry, the winning ways of the past do not allow Brian Cashman to just get away scot-free anymore. It's been far too long. And the mentality, the mindset, the winning way is gone. The Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Rays, when players go down, they're willing immediately to call up their top prospects if they need to. If they're above AA, they have no issue calling them up. The Yankees, on the other hand, no. They will play with dumpster fires for as long as their legs work. Brett Gardner. I know we like Andrew Velazquez, but Andrew Velazquez, Sal Romano, Andrew Heaney, Luis Heel came up, did great. He got sent down for Andrew Heaney, gets called back up, but is not the same. How about you let him continue to ride the hot streak, Brian? Estevan Florial comes up. What does he do? Well, he hits 300. He gets sent back down. If this was a serious club, when DJ LeMahieu got injured, do you know who should have been called up? Oswald Peraza. You should have went with one of your top prospects that can hit and can field and can add something, a dynamic to this lineup. But the Yankees don't do that, my friends. The Yankees don't do that. That is not the Brian Cashman mentality anymore. That's not how they run this organization. That's not how it works here anymore. That's not the way the Yankees do things. Guys, I said it yesterday again. Aaron Boone immediately set this team up for failure yesterday. Off the bat, I saw the lineup and I tweeted. I didn't want to be too negative, but I said I don't like the lineup. When me and the guys were on the game yesterday, I mentioned it immediately. If you get past the first three, this game is over. If Nate Eovaldi can shut down 1 through 3, this game is in the bag for the Red Sox. He handed it to them on a silver platter. And that is the weakness of this club. The talent is there. Yes, they do have guys they have to move around. The biggest obvious problem with this team is one philosophy that also goes along with who they've hired as manager and how they continue to allow horrible coaching to enter this club. And then, but, for Brian Cashman, he's lucky because he got morons who are allowed to cover this team. Michael Kay. Well, Aaron Boone's a nice guy. He's the nicest guy you can meet. Ryan Rucco. Well, Phil Nevin's really a nice guy. I mean, he's a great guy. Here was my response, by the way, to Ryan Rucco. So I just told you guys what Ryan Rucco said. Here's my response to him. I said, good guy or not means nothing. Actually, it adds 0 to any topic, especially when it's based off of performance. The call wasn't that bad. Really? Then he also wrote this yesterday, so I had to shove this one down his throat. Yesterday, folks, when Aaron Boone came out and took out Luis Severino and brought Clay Holmes in, Clay Holmes got the double play. Ryan Rucco tweeted that Boone and Holmes saved the game. Mind you, guys, the New York Yankees were losing 3-0 at that time. 3-0 at that time. These are the guys that are pushing the Yankee failure. These are them. Because they can sit back and they can say, well, I did criticize. Did you? Did you? You guys are... CC Sabathia is a Major League ball player, played for the Yankees. He has had Major League players that have also played for the same club with him come out and openly say, this is the least prepared team I have ever played for. McCutchen and Maben. The least prepared team I have ever played for. But CC Sabathia doesn't know the problem. Ryan Rucco doesn't know the problem. And I don't want to hear CC's bullshit anymore. Oh, Gary Sanchez works hard. Who are you to knock him? He works hard. Doesn't matter one bit. You can be the hardest worker in the room. God bless you. If the performance isn't there, you're as good as the least working person in the room who is not performing. There is no difference. There is 0 difference there. Aaron Boone puts out a lineup last night, guys, where I, again, just to catch up to where I was, to circle back, so to say, I'm circling back. I announced it early. Once it came out, I said it was horrible. When the guys started the game, I said, if Eovaldi gets through those first 3, forget it. Folks, I think it was maybe the 7th or 8th inning, 1 through 3, where I think it was 4 for 9, 4 through 9 was 1 for 18. It was as clear as day. Anthony Rizzo would need a single. He would need 2 more singles. Maybe 3 for him to score in Fenway Park. That's your leadoff hitter? Because he could walk? What is that going to do? He'll get around the bases? How? Does he get a scooter? I love Anthony Rizzo. He's not a burner. Anthony Rizzo's a lard ass. It's the same thing with DJ LeMahieu when he leads off. They're lard asses. So, Anthony Rizzo gets on. A single puts him at second base. He's not going to third. a single then to left field or right field is not scoring them. You would have bases loaded at that point with Gallo up. Gleyber Torres was finally performing well, and he was leading off. Better speed, somewhat hot, finally hitting a little bit. He bats fifth. But I got fans today. Well, no, I'm not even gonna say anything bad about the fans because everybody agreed with me on Ruocco. I think there was one person who disagreed, and that's okay. And then they're just a hater because they do the Simonetti's a fraud thing, which is so 3 years ago. That stuff is like 3 years ago, right? But now you also got Aaron Boone's little family. And what I mean by his family, not his actual family. The reporters who are close to him, man, are they putting in overtime to get him to keep his job. And I bet he does. I said it last night. I bet Aaron Boone is back next year. Because the Yankees don't learn. If Hal Steinbrenner had any care at all for this ball club, Brian Cashman is fired and Boone is gone. If he had any brains whatsoever, you would recognize the problem with this team is Brian Cashman and the management on the field, that they have this new philosophy of, I guess if you become friends with these guys, you'll get the best performance. Well, you don't. Joe Girardi managing this team this year, they're not fighting for a wild card spot. Mark my words on that. He would have loved this bullpen. He may have not been the greatest at managing a pen, but he would have loved these guys. He also wouldn't have brought Andrew Heaney in, Sal Romano in, Krisky in. That definitely wouldn't have happened. Under anybody sane, that doesn't happen. But for the Yankees, it does. But the great thing is, folks, is that you do have us here. That's the great thing. And we aren't going anywhere. We're actually only growing, which is the best thing in the world. We're actually only growing. That's what makes me happy. Unfortunately, our growing right now is coming at the pain of the Yankees because they don't see it. And also, unfortunately, they don't got a press corps who doesn't even push back on Aaron Boone when he says, other teams have closed the gap on us. Gee, what gap is that, Aaron? The gap between Judge's teeth? Is that the gap that's closed? Because that one did. But what gap are you talking about? That would assume to say since 2018, you were the best team in baseball. No. What gap? And if Brian Cashman doesn't get his head on right, or if Hal Steinbrenner doesn't feel that he has balls between his legs and that he owns the club, he is the Yankees. You can make any decision you want, Steinbrenner. Anyone you want. You don't got to keep any of these guys here. You're the boss. Unfortunately, act like it. Act like it. Listen to your fan base for once. And guys, that's why it is so damn important that you all subscribe, you all share, you all tweet this team. Because the Yankees need pushback. They need legitimate pushback by a group of fans, real fans that also have the backing of the majority of the fan base. Well, the logical majority of the fan base. Because we got a lot of these guys that really fall for the, hey, we got a turtle. And they fall for the gimmicks. They fall for that stuff. And they think it's cute. And they think like, oh, cool, look. That's our rallying cry. That's going to help us win. I just live in reality. I live in what I see. I'm not scared to say it. None of us here are. Your Ryan Ruccos, your Michael K's, your CC Sabathias, who actually was more honest, I feel, than Ruocco was. Your beat reporters, your Lindsay Adlers. You guys want to listen to them? Or you want to listen to us, who are not beholden to the New York Yankees? Do you want to listen to truth? Or do you want to have your head patted and somebody telling you everything's going to be all right? You want to do the Marcus Timms thing? You guys are great. You're great. We need you here. Or do you want somebody to tell you, get your shit together, get up and go play ball? Let me tell you the truth. That's who we are. That's who NYY News is. And it's only the jump. It's only the jump. Where do you guys see what we have in store? Talk to you guys soon.